Everybody, welcome to No Vacancy Live. Although today is being recorded because our amazing guest today is really busy out there making sure people have great meals at hotels and beyond. Talking to the president and CEO of one of the best, most interesting, incredible hotel restaurant companies out there today. Hope I didn't talk about too much. Sam Bakhshandehpour, CEO of José Andrés Group. Sam, so great to see you. How are you today?
Well, good to see you as well.
All right, so the first question I have for you, Sam, is when you were a kid and you were doing standardized tests, was there enough spaces for you to fill in your last name?
Sam Bakhshandehpour every time.
Yeah, because I always thought like my name Hausman is not that long, but there weren't that many little empty spaces afterwards. So I'm concerned for you, but I'm sure Sam Bakhshandehpour did great in school over there.
I'm here. So however path we took, I'm here in front of you. So something worked out.
All right, so since the last time we spoke, which I think was about 2 years ago
Right.
already at the restaurant of the then recently opened Conrad, where you have multiple concepts going on. I'll put this in the show notes for you guys to watch because we had a great conversation over food, and we really talked about the history of Sam and all of that. So we're not going to talk about that stuff today. But what I want to really talk to you about today is where we've been in the last 2 years with the company. I'm seeing opportunities. I'm seeing headwinds out there. And I'm curious as to, first of all, how you feel about the overall state of the S&B environment, both in and out of hotels when it comes to upscale restaurants.
Yeah, we were having a lot more fun last time eating our way through this conversation, but this is second best.
Yeah.
Listen, it's been a tale of two cities over the past 2 years. On one hand, the growth continues, which I'll talk about here in a minute. And we've been very fortunate to continue to grow with our hotel partners. On the other hand, the environment for fine dining has become very challenging. We're seeing the headwinds only increase on all fronts. On the challenges front, I'll tell you, it's an incredible industry
Mhm.
that got in over its skis on pricing. I think all of us as consumers have felt that.
Yeah.
And, our philosophy on pricing always has been to make it a value proposition no matter where you are in the food chain, no pun intended, from fast casual to, fine dining. We try to price at a level that keeps you coming back over and over again. But, many of our competitors didn't do that and they've priced themselves out. And folks that were going to eat, a couple times a month have cut that back. A couple times a week have definitely cut that back. And that equation was not sustainable. And frankly, as someone who eats out 5, 6 nights a week, when I look at the pricing at some of these restaurants, I understand the challenges of, labor,
Right.
COGS, OpEx, all the expenses, rent, but it has really gotten out of hand. So I think that as a result, you've seen this moment in time where, many restaurants have not been able to continue to carry the weight of the massive inflation that we ended up suffering that hit everyone personally and professionally.
Sam, Waffle House is charging 50 cents extra per egg.
The egg conversation is a totally separate one. I know we've been living that egg conversation for the past couple of years. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry.
to us.
All right, so what you're saying makes a whole lot of sense, and I have unlimited sympathies for a lot of operators out there that have been dealing with this insane increase of their pricing before they even serve a plate of food. And I always have to say, everyone deserves fair wages, et cetera, et cetera. But on the other end of it, customers are feeling really that pinch that you had mentioned there before. And I'm going to use a totally different segment. Fast food. Fast food really went up, up, up. There was a mix between their pricing that went up and I would say a touch of greedflation in there, thinking they could get away with it quietly because prices were going up. But at some point, you hit that wall. And now these major companies are suddenly offering value meals again and doing all of that again. And I think they wound up losing a lot of trust with customers. But I don't feel that with you, Sam, because you kept that value as best as you could. And I felt that you've been more open and honest with your customers when it comes to these things.
No, we have, and it's funny. I saw someone sent me a meme that was a picture of a Taco Bell receipt Right, 1999. And every item was, double digit cents.
Yep.
And, this morning going to the coffee shop locally, I end up paying $7 for an Americano. And I'm walking away, say, how did we get to this point?
Mhm.
And I know the answer to that. But it's for us, like I said, we approach it as we want you coming back regularly. And volume and that energy of the restaurant results in good things for everyone.
Right.
First and foremost, our guests, secondarily, our partners, and then our community, as a whole. We've tried to be open and honest with the challenges. We try to make sure that this tapas experience, no matter the cuisine, it's small shared plates. You should come in, take risks, order a little bit more, knowing that you're not going to have to make that decision. It's either A or B, because if I do A and B, the check becomes outrageous. That's really been the spirit from day one over, 3 decades. Let it be sharing, let it be spontaneous, take risks in ordering, try something new, and yet walk out of there knowing that it is a value proposition. We haven't nailed it everywhere like anyone else. There's sometimes I even walk into some of our restaurants saying, ouch. But in all, I can tell you it's a heck of a lot better than, you know,
Yeah, it's all about finding that right balance over there. Because at the end of the day, Sam, you all still need to make money in order to keep those lights on, keep those employees paid, et cetera, et cetera. So you've got all of these great restaurants, and before we went on air, I noticed I seem to be getting a whole lot of notes on you guys are opening here, you're opening there. Am I crazy, or have you really ramped up development efforts over the last couple of years since we last spoke?
now, as I tell our board, the hard work was done, over 3 decades. They had built so many incredible brands. And remember, I was, originally, when I came in, I was an advisor, had put together an investment group, and we were partners from back in the day when we had launched our first hotel, the SLS, and the Bazaar was the flagship. I always viewed the
And I should
Bazaar.
note to everybody, SLS was the no longer concept that was in between Sahara Prime and the new version of Sahara on the Las Vegas Strip. Sorry, Sam.
Yeah, no, and listen, the hotels we had, Beverly Hills, Miami, Vegas, the heart and soul was always the Bazaar.
Yep.
It was always the content. And it was, people went to the Bazaar, they went to Bar Centro, that's why they would stay at that hotel.
Yep.
Fast forward, 15 years, 17 years later, where we are the last 2 years, and you spotted this, correctly, Glenn, we're at a point where we're infusing that energy, that soul into hotel properties,
Right.
and our hotel partners reap the benefits because people love the hotel as a destination for dining, for events, for drinking, and then ultimately they're capturing the high end of room rate in the respective properties. Whether it's the one that you're, virtually standing in, the Conrad in LA, whether it's the Ritz-Carlton and Nomad in New York, we're able to bring this incredible energy, infuse this soul into these properties with the food and beverage. And in turn, they make money out of the restaurants, they drive traffic, and they get the high rates.
And for you out there, the branding is great because Jose has created a brand that is bar none, right? So you're able to, for example, you're able to leverage, let's say, Flag Luxury Group and our friend Daisy over there, where you have several properties with them, right? You're able to leverage Ritz Carlton's branding, and they are able to leverage your great Jose Andres branding as well, which I think really creates that virtuous circle that you're hinting at by everybody being able to make a little bit more because of that
Yeah.
brand cluster effect.
With Ellie.
Right. So that leads me to think, Sam, is your strategy for more for hotel partnerships rather than standalone venues going forward? Or I'm sure there'll be a mix, but
It'll be a mix, but we're definitely going to lean towards doing more and more hotels. My background, the success we've had, over really the past 20 years as a company, hotels are primed as our number one distribution channel.
Yep.
That being said, we do have an incredible partnership with Simon Properties.
Yep.
We launched the first of 3 projects, the first one being at, Crystals in Las Vegas. We did
Yep.
Bazaar Mar,
Yep.
right outside of City Center, right in City Center, right outside of Aria, a stone's throw from the check-in desk at Aria. We're inside of really what is the top retail property in Las Vegas. We will be opening up this year also at their other retail property called Forum Shops, where we're going to open Zaytinya. And
Mhm.
then by year end, we're going to open in Stanford Mall in Palo Alto after there's Zaytinya. So you're going to see, Bazaar Mall, a couple of Zaytinyas in retail centers in partnership with Simon, which we're really, really excited about.
Sam, we got to get one over at the Smith Haven Mall right here in Lake Grove on Law.
Let's go.
There's a Bobby's Burger Palace. Well, no, wait, that didn't do so well. Now they made it a Ford garage. But
You with a good time, Glenn.
yeah, yeah. Hey, Long Island is great. But that's really interesting. And just quick history lesson for people out there. It used to be the best restaurants in the cities were in hotels. And I'm going back to the 1900s before the World War II modern era. In the modern era, in like the late 80s, early 90s, when travel and select service hotels kind of took off, all of that kind of changed. And we got like the restaurant hidden in the back of the hotel that was operated by the property that they didn't have any passion for. Now it's come full circle, but hotel operators are like, let's partner with somebody so we can have incredible dining that helps our hotel, but also brings in people from the community. So I love that you're following this particular philosophy because I really think it unites all eras of hospitality in a very nice way.
No, we're excited, Glenn. The
Yeah.
hotel model is one that is tried and true, and making it a destination for the local community is a pretty incredible thing. If you show up tonight to Zaytinya
Yeah.
at Ritz Nomad, you'll see the restaurant packed at 6:30 p.m. on a Monday night. And the goal is 10 years from now to keep that same energy, and they're all locals.
Yeah. All right. So you said 6:30 at night they're busy, but I think people are starting to eat earlier,
Yep.
even younger people, right? I'm a New York guy. I live on Long Island now, but in all my formative years, I was in Manhattan. We don't even think about dinner till 9 o'clock at night. Now I want to eat at 5 o'clock, and I feel like everybody else is too.
I work with Spaniards, so if you can only imagine how shocking this shift has been to our company.
Yeah. So instead of eating at midnight, they'll be like, "What? We have to eat at 11?" So you have 13 concepts over here. I'm actually cheating and looking at the
You're
website because you have.
No, we're up to 20 in the portfolio, 20 concepts. We have over 40 some odd units. Oh,
Good.
and I think we have about a dozen units opening just this year alone. So this is a big expansion year.
That's
The company.
That's huge, Sam. So, how do you balance all of these different concepts? And I guess the first question is before that is why do you feel you need so many of a variety of concepts instead of a few core products that you take out?
No, it's a great question. We have honed in on a few. If our R&D and culinary team had their druthers, everything would be bespoke magic, but that's not a way to scale.
Right. Exactly.
I always view it as the 80-20 rule. 80%, let's perfect what has been perfected over 3 decades.
Hmm.
And it's a handful of brands that and the Zaytinyas, the Bazaars of the world.
Yep.
You're now seeing more OMLs popping up. OML is going to be opening in New York at Hudson Yards
Oh
soon.
wow.
So OML is a 15-year-old concept,
Mhm.
right? Maybe even longer.
Yeah, and that's us. People don't know. Folks, I'm Mexican. Yeah.
Yeah, the Mexican concept in DC coming to New York. We've launched the spin-off of OML called Butterfly on our rooftop. So there will be a few concepts that we are scaling more rapidly than others. Yet other concepts, as you'll see at the Andaz in South Beach, we still will do bespoke. There'll be a bespoke Mediterranean concept opening up in the Miami property with our partnership with Hyatt at the Andaz coming up, here this spring.
Wow. That's great. So, how do you think about hotel partnerships?
Yeah, listen, we view it as one team. Hotels are a unique animal, and folks on who follow you know this, I would say better than most. It's a three-party deal. You have hotel owner, hotel operator, and F&B operator, and there's not always alignment or agreement between the three.
Right.
What I've always tried to do, and we've done this successfully over the past couple of decades, find that alignment between the two operators. Because a hotel guest doesn't care if it's the Ritz-Carlton running this or José Andrés Group running that.
They're
It's
thinking.
all the Ritz. I'm staying at the Ritz. It's the Ritz. So our partnership with Marriott, for example,
Mhm.
has been unbelievably successful. Whereas we're one team, even though certain times different groups run different parts of the property,
Right.
we're always in sync with them. And then when it comes to ownership, you don't have this is my purview. This is all I care about, my four walls here. And the hotel only cares about their rooms. They know that it's synergistic. We complement one another nicely. And that's the model where we're in sync. We're in sync on operations, we're in sync on marketing, we're in sync on branding with the hotel operator. Thus, the owners know that there's a united front all the way around. And we've had a lot more success time and time again with these hotel projects.
Which I think is helping you get into more and more of these hotel projects, because I think that you've got some great partners, again, kind of like Flag we were talking
Yeah.
about. But those types of relationships, everybody starts talking, and I see you out there on the conference circuit. So I know that other hotel companies are paying attention to what you're doing.
Completely. And listen, Flag, led by Daisy,
Mhm.
and her husband Paul, they were so forward thinking.
Mhm.
But, honestly, one of the best hotel partners we've ever had in my career
Wow.
because they saw the benefit of let us create cutting edge design. Let's work with Marriott, convince them to outsource the food and beverage, and then realize how you overprogram a hotel with F&B, with one operator, where you do create those synergies.
Mhm.
And the result, hop on your favorite OTA and see where the room rate is for Ritz Nomad compared to, the other Ritz, Ritz is in the city, Ritz-Carlton,
Right.
Central Park. It's not a coincidence that they're garnering the rate they're garnering, and credit to Flag's leadership for seeing that.
And I'd say, hey, check out all the rates there, but then book direct. Help our hotel friends. Right. Yeah. So, uh, Sam, so where does all of this go? I mean, how much can you realistically expand every single year while keeping control of quality and all of that? I'd also be curious as to how long does it actually take to open up a particular product, and how do you decide on what goes into that particular space?
Yeah, it's a topic where if you ask me where do I lose sleep, Glenn, it's exactly that point. As much as I'm a fiduciary and a leader of this firm, quality assurance is number one. And it starts with quality assurance inspector number one, whose name is on the door, to assure that, the North Star is culinary excellence.
Hmm.
And I've quoted this in the past. Jose told me this. We're actually in LA after a board meeting. And he said, Sam, if the food is great, people will keep coming back.
Hmm.
And that's not to say that design isn't important, which it is, and led by our chief design and development officer, Cameron Schmidt. And you see it behind you. We have elevated the design of this company to the
But
next
without that, you can't get people in. So we understand that that's important on some level. But continue, please.
service,
Hmm.
stating the obvious. Why did Glenn like to go to the restaurant, that he went to? Because they knew he liked his martini up with three left olives, not two.
That's right. That's right.
And the maitre d' recognized Glenn, and you had the corner table waiting for you.
Yeah.
That service where you're entering your home is the obvious.
Until sadly, he recognized me from the wheelbarrow they had to roll me out in from out.
There were no cameras back then. You're fine.
All right.
Uh, then you look at the ambiance, and it's experiential, right? The
Mhm.
bar is set even higher and higher every year. It's not like it used to be. You want to go and you want to make sure that the vibe is right, the music is on point, the lighting is, perfected. All that's important. But the North Star again was the food great.
Yeah.
And if the food is great, you'll keep coming back and you'll forgive if one of those other elements are not on point.
Right.
Not to say for our team watching this, all those points are critical.
No, they are. But if for some reason one of those levers fails, they're going to come back because of the food.
So quality assurance is everything. We have chef brand partners that live and breathe those brands, from the R&D to the quality assurance to the execution. They're constantly going from city to city to make sure that the execution is on brand for bazaars, 18, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
That's the piece that we have. We've overinvested in quality assurance, in R&D to make sure the food is perfected. That allows us the ability to scale. So when we go city to city, we're honing in on our hub major cities, which are the New Yorks, DCs, South Floridas of the world, LA, Vegas, so on and so forth. Then we expand into the spokes. And I always say, if you can do a day trip and hit all your restaurants, that is your hub right there.
Right.
So our flagship is in LA or Vegas. We should be able to hit Arizona, which we're doing
Right.
coming up next year, hit Palo Alto all in a day. You can go Palo Alto, LA, Arizona, Vegas within 24 hours. That's the model going forward of this hub and spoke with quality assurance inspectors, hitting the roads, making sure that we're on brand.
How do you how do you keep your energy up every single day and your eye on that prize every single day? Because I find one of the great things about life is we have plenty of time to do stuff, but one of the more challenging aspects is until you're dead, there's no real finish line, right? And like you keep thinking, you're going to get to a point, but then you have to dig down deep and keep doing it again and again and again and again.
Well, my sugar-free Red Bull days are over, Glenn, and that was the last chapter. Honestly, it's passion. It's knowing that there is a higher purpose as to what we're doing. We're feeding people, we're uniting people around food, and we're healing. And whatever those wounds may be, you're healing with food. And the beauty of what we do day to day, where we get the energy, is we're in the service business. When you find, and this is, my own personal growth, having been in this industry and starting off in New York on Wall Street and the intensity that brought, you realize we started off all about the destination.
Yeah.
It's like, let me do X, Y, and Z, get the promotion, close the deal, next, next, next. And then all of a sudden you realize that's when you're the receiver and you're just looking to gain more and more.
Right.
If you shift your lens to actually being the giver and serve others, it's very fulfilling. And how I'm wired. I wake up in the morning, hitting the ground running, grateful for the opportunity, knowing that at the end of the day, the reason I travel and you're seeing me remote always is because our boardroom is that dining room.
Right.
And when you show up to Zaytinya Ritz Nomad at 6:30 tonight on a Monday night, and it's packed with people recapping how their days were, kids, how was your day at school, business meetings, people staying at the hotel. Like, that's the beauty of this job. And we're at the epicenter of giving back to the communities, which is what drives all of us to do what we do.
I love it. I would like to have you do me a favor and open up another Cina Poblano, which I absolutely love at Cosmopolitan. And I'm partial to it. Number one, because when I was living in Brooklyn at the time, New York City is notorious for having takeout Chinese slash Mexican joints, and y'all like took that over the top. So I think there's more casino resort partners that you could find out there after all these years to get another one in there. So
Tell your hotel and casino partners we're open for business.
yeah, I will. I actually got some ideas there that I'll send you an email on. But Sam, what before we wrap up today, what do you think we should really take away for what you think your company is achieving in the food and beverage world, both just fiscally and beyond when it comes to the good I think that you all are helping put out in society too with chef's work.
Yeah, listen, chef does God's work, and the men and women over there do incredible things that's outside of my purview, as you know. But when
Yeah, the World Central Kitchen is actually a separate organization, but obviously they're inextricably linked because of Chef Andres. Yeah.
yeah, and listen, what I've always admired about Jose is that it is authentic, whether we're talking about the food in the restaurants or his mission and purpose of feeding others. what he does, he's a very real person. And, we've always gotten along from the standpoint of we're givers, we're helping others. My fiduciary responsibility is multiple parties.
Yeah.
Number one, I'm a fiduciary to our investors and have to take care of, the trust they gave in what we do. I'm a fiduciary to our employees who I call partners, who have entrusted their careers in our hands to make sure they have career mobility and the ability to grow. And when you see food runners 20 years later become managers of men of venues, when you see chefs becoming, head of IT, so on and so forth, like these things warm my heart. And then we're fiduciaries to our hotel partners. I don't take it lightly. I do lose sleep at night knowing they're investing millions into building out our restaurants or investing in the teams. And, I know they do get the benefit from room rate and us making money, but we're good stewards of capital. We're watching out for what they're doing and making sure, as you said, there's a reason we've done things on a programmatic basis with our partners from Related, from Flag, so on and so forth. We make money for our partners across the board. That's the financial fiduciary lens that I can speak to, while knowing at the end of the day, the North Star is serve others, make sure we deliver these exceptional experiences, and do it with sophistication, class, and respect for the individual across the board.
Well, you guys have done an absolutely phenomenal job. And in a world of a gajillion restaurant brands, yours is really at the top or near the top for sure. Sam, before I let you go today, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you, share a good piece of advice for some of the young people just coming up, like some of Dr. Producer Suzanne's students over at FIU. What would you tell them?
Yeah, listen, you've already taken the first step. It's passion, do things that you believe in. That authenticity shines and people see right through it. And then work hard, be the first on the field and the last off the field. Too often we end up, and I'm guilty of this, we end up in our comfort zones.
Yeah.
And that sandbox is so much more comfortable than taking yourself out of your comfort zone
Yep.
and doing things that, give you butterflies and make you uneasy. And that's where you really accomplish growth. And, nothing will ever be a substitute for hard work. And you can not be the fastest, you can, not be the most athletic, but you can always outwork the next person, which is, how I have led my life.
Sam, I feel like you were one of those people not picking me for the kickball team in second grade.
Like, quite the contrary.
Yeah, I was always the last on the field because I was always picked last. But I had good, good I had good attitude about it. Sam, thank you so much for being here. I really
Always good to see you, Glenn. Thank you for having me on.
freaking you too. And I want to thank all of you for being here today. Make sure you subscribe to all of our stuff. Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn is our main home for stuff, as well as find YouTube and novacancynews.com where you can watch this show and all of the others. Thanks so much for watching. We'll be back next time right here on another episode of No Vacancy Live. See you all